Special thanks to the team at ICP for making this video possible.
All right, we're back into the Walkie Talkie. Today, I have the incredible Martha Cooper with me. Martha Cooper, hi. Can you introduce yourself for those who may not know who you are?
I'm Martha Cooper. I'm a documentary / street photographer, and I've lived in New York since 1975. I first came to New York in 75.
So where are we shooting today?
Right now we're in Alphabet City, which refers to avenues A, B, C, and D on the Lower East Side of Manhattan. In the 1970s, I was very interested in this area because I began a personal project documenting kids making their own toys and basically having all kinds of adventurous play when their parents weren't watching. And all of this actually led to my photographing graffiti. If you want, we could stop and make comments on like this little pocket. There's a lot of graffiti that goes on here. And you can see that this wall is a memorial. Well, the sun is kind of bad, but to Patty Astor, who founded and ran the Fun Gallery on the Lower East Side. And like that's Lady Pink, Fab Five Freddy. And this was painted by Shiro, who is a graffiti writer from Japan, a female graffiti writer from Japan. But this changes a lot. I mean, they're depicting old school, the era that we're talking about, like early 80s.
So can you talk about how you got started photographing Alphabet City and that whole trajectory?
I was a photographer for the New York Post, and every day I would drive. The Post was located on South Street, and we worked out of our cars. There were no cell phones, not even those old flip phones. We had radios back to the city desk, two-way radios. So if if there was breaking news, they would call us, but we were free to wander around in between assignments. I always lived on the Upper West Side, so I would drive through Alphabet City on my way to the Post looking for feature photos of any kind. Because if you could find something, they called them weather shots. Sunny day, rainy day, windy day, snowy day. And so I sort of began a personal project. So, Avenue A.
Here we are, Alphabet City.
Yep, but it's a little pocket of the city that a lot of people don't know about. If you say Alphabet City, it's not universally recognized as a neighborhood.
And I've also noticed you take photos with your phone and your DSLR.
When it's just a picture, I just want to grab a quick shot. The phone is the easiest thing to do. And, it takes pretty good pictures. I'm actually I might have to take a picture of that. Because it says Lower East Side. It's a nickname, kind of. Like Lower East Side all. And this, oops, is he gonna park right where I'm taking this? See, so this is Tat Screw, Bronx Screw, but, and I haven't ever seen this mural. '23. But I don't know what it says. Maybe I just don't know who this person is. Balvin. See, Subway. Surfers? Is that? Oh, it's Surfers. Oh. So, I don't know who J Balvin is. See, this is. Do a little panorama. Back in the late 70s, there were vast areas of just empty lots. So, like, maybe these buildings right here were built since then. They look kind of new.
Yeah, what was it like photographing back in the 70s, 80s? In terms of what was the photo community like? Was there a lot of other photographers around?
No. People didn't have good cameras. Of course there were plenty of always have been professional photographers. But when I would go into a neighborhood like this, I wouldn't see other people out photographing.
Are there other photographers that you would like surround yourself around, have like a little community or a little like get together to share work?
No, but remember I was working for the New York Post. Yeah. And so there were 15 photographers on staff. I worked for them for 3 years. Like, this is cool. Nice. So I'm gonna go in. Okay, what I like about this is that the flag, it's like Puerto Rican flag. This is very nice. It's got this is the fort in San Juan and the Puerto Rican flag for sale. Very nice. Wow, check this out. The whole building is a flag. That's cool. See, okay, look at this. This is interesting. I did a big project about casitas, and I'm thinking this might have been a casita that I photographed because it looks like the roof is made from an old skylight. I can check the address because I have the pictures at home, and in fact, I've been organizing them all. So, and see, sometimes this goes through a fence better than this. Okay, so I want to go look at the one if we can. I don't know if we can get behind there. But there's no no easy way to get in there. I think it's the same one. And the reason is I did a big casita project, but I've only seen the one that used this skylight. And I think that one has a skylight. Like retrieved it from a building and made it into the roof. It's just like the little casita.
Oh, well, he left right now. If not, he would have let you go in and look at it. He just renovated a couple of the things. He bought some wood and everything to bring the structure back up.
Because I think I photographed this about 30 years ago.
30 years ago?
I think so. I think it was right here.
Oh, wow.
And I want to go home because I remember the roof was made from an old skylight.
It still is?
Yes. And
they're both of them. Wow.
Yes. So,
listen, I live here and I don't even remember if it goes back that far.
Well, I'm going to go look. It was like late 80s.
You're probably right.
Time flies.
Yeah, because the first person that really did, he lived it on the 3rd floor. He passed away a couple of years ago too. Then he passed it over to the gentleman that's taking care of it right now,
Okay, I'm going to go look and try to find that picture.
Yeah. So
if I can find it, I'll bring him back a picture.
Listen, he will love that.
Yeah.
He will put it up somewhere.
I'm going to go.
But make sure it's a copy, not your original. Keep your original.
Yeah.
Keep that one, all right?
You know what? The original is a slide.
Okay.
So I have to make a print from,
Okay. He will.
I'm going to look. Okay.
I don't know. I said there's a lady that came over here. I'm going to ask him, I've been here since 1980.
88, around 88.
Because time does fly.
It does, yep.
You seem to have a really good memory of all the photos too.
Well, I'm in the process of archiving everything for the Library of Congress, and I'm in the middle of the casitas right now. So
Top of
my
mind.
mind is on casitas. It's interesting, it's like an exterior stained glass window where the colors can be seen like from the outside. But no vacant lots, see? Well, like that might be a vacant lot, but there used to be these vacant lots that were not boarded up, and they were like full of raw materials where they could make their own toys.
Have you ever kept in contact with any of those kids that you photographed from back in the day?
Occasionally one or two. I haven't really kept in contact, but every so often one crosses my path. You know, we meet at some event.
There was a trip to Haiti, right? That kind of spawned your interest in...
Yes.
Yeah?
Exactly.
Was that an assignment that brought you to Haiti, or was it just
No,
like a vacation?
I just picked Haiti as a place to go. I was on vacation from the Post, and I saw kids making these cars from tin cans and other things too. And when I came back, I thought, well, let me see if I can find that in New York. See, all of these gardens, some of them had, this one looks beautiful, look, beautiful garden. This would have been a vacant lot. But look how gorgeous this is. This lot. Wow. Yeah. Take a picture. Do not dump trash. Well, I mean, people were scared to come into this neighborhood. Does not look like that today.
When did you kind of stop coming to this neighborhood to photograph?
After I left the Post,
Got you.
like 1980. So my photographs were more 78, 79, 80. But it's interesting that there's still so many gardens. But it's kind of sad that they have to keep them locked up. Be nice if they were open.
How did photographing the children back in the 70s lead to the graffiti stuff?
I often saw the same kids day after day. They grew used to seeing me taking pictures in the neighborhood. And one boy who I had photographed with his pigeons on a rooftop showed me his notebook. This boy, kept a pigeon coop on his roof. One day he showed me his notebook with drawings. And he said, why don't you take pictures of graffiti? And that was really the first time he explained to me that he was practicing to put his name on a wall and a train. And before that, I didn't understand what I was seeing on the streets. It was like a code, like the Rosetta Stone. I was able to decipher the letters that I'd been seeing because it turned out these were nicknames. And I hadn't realized that. I mean, now I think everybody knows that kids are writing their names, but back then everybody didn't know. So he said, I can introduce you to a king. And of course I wanted that. And he wound up introducing me to Dondi out in Brooklyn, who in fact was one of the greatest of all graffiti kings. After I met Dondi, I became kind of obsessed with graffiti and began a whole other project about that. And that's another story.
Yeah, it's incredible.
But this is Lower East Side.
It seems like a lot of your projects of interest have come from other things. Like the Haiti led to the boys, which led to the graffiti.
You know, it's a kind of anthropological, ethnographic. My possible career before I decided to be a photographer was that I wanted to work in an ethnographic museum. I was interested in the artifacts, the crafts. So, you know, these are all pictures of kids being creative. That's the common denominator. Okay, this was the remnant of the old West Side Highway that was boarded up, about to be torn down. And they had made these carts and were racing them. And if you look at this picture, you can see they had made them out of police barricades. Because in New York City, unlike, say, the countryside, you're not going to find a lot of wood sitting around. So the scrap wood that they found to make their toys came from police barricade. You know, they were building little houses. Here you can see them building the house out of some kind of bed frame. Okay, this is inside the house where these little boys were pretending to cook leaves. Extremely sweet. They had a little kitchen set up. You don't see these anymore.
Not at all.
No. Oh yeah, here we are. This is the factory. See, they're building
So stuff like that was like out in the open where like maybe
Yeah.
adults were around and like people didn't really mind getting their photo taken back in the day.
No, you didn't. I didn't get that reaction that I get today about. And that's because there was no cell phones.
Social media.
It wasn't obvious that you could do anything with the pictures. So
Yeah, because nowadays if you take a photo of somebody, the first question is, what are you going to do with that?
Exactly.
What was the first question when you like photographed somebody back then? Or maybe there was no question.
I don't recall that they were, often I didn't just jump out and shoot. Maybe I started having a conversation, and if I had a lot of interest, if it were pigeons, I would be talking about pigeons. And I'd ask them questions about pigeons, and nobody seemed to mind. Okay, these kids, they had set up a bar with empty, see, and he's the bartender. And then they're pretending to be drunk. Yeah, nobody minded my taking. Or this is a classic New York City street game, Skelly.
Yeah.
But they made their own Skelly caps. See, they knew how to get the ring off the top of a glass bottle that they could use on the street as a Skelly cap. So.
Were you aware when you were taking these photos, were you aware just how much of a time capsule you were preserving?
Not 100%, but I did think this is all going to change and I'm going to have the pictures. I didn't see how it could possibly last like this forever with these wide open lots just full of junk, mostly.
Yeah, because even this was like in a pretty short time span. That's like such an
look at this.
iconic, wow.
Well, the houses were empty. Would you let your kids out to climb fences like this today? I don't think so. It was a more innocent time. This picture had been in the New York Post. And when I first met Dondi, he had cut it out and pasted it in his sketchbook. CIA was his crew, and it had my credit on it. And that was how he knew that I was a photographer and not a cop when I first met him, and also that I had the ability to get him some fame, which was always what graffiti writers wanted.
How serendipitous was that? Like your first time meeting him and then...
Yes, totally.
Do you ever wish, I know like you said, you had mentioned that this was kind of like a 3-year span of photographing this neighborhood.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel like you should have kept coming back after those 3 years?
Well,
in hindsight,
sometimes
like,
I feel like this is my best series of pictures and that I should have continued it. And I do think about continuing it maybe in a foreign country. Oh, here, you know what? Just a few months ago, I was invited to Kenya. While we were there, the kids showed us the toys that they had made. Here, I have a little video. It has like a clothespin knocking against a plastic bottle. And see, I said I'm always on the lookout for creative child-made toys. Kenya did not disappoint with these motorbikes. Swipe to hear they're very realistic sounding. They called them motorbikes. When we said, well, what do you call these? They said motorbikes. So that was their idea of a motorbike. So yeah, I mean, I'd like to continue this project in places where kids are still making their own toys.
It's so fun.
I would guess that we'd find something on every street.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's part of being a street photographer is the treasure hunt, I think, Even I don't consider myself a street photographer. Like I call myself a documentary photographer, but I document on the street. So maybe that automatically makes me a street photographer. But I think the one thing that you might find in common is that we're looking for something, and it is like a treasure hunt. We don't know exactly what we're going to find. With me, I have sort of particular categories that I look for, but I know other people just like random stuff. And New York City is the best, the deepest, the broadest, the wildest subject matter that you could ask for.
You're from Baltimore, right?
I am from Baltimore.
Yeah, I'm from Maryland originally.
You're from Maryland?
But yeah, originally, yeah.
Ah, okay. So I did a 10-year project in Baltimore.
Yeah, Sowebo, right?
Yep.
Sowebo and Soweto. Why did you choose that neighborhood to document?
A couple of reasons. One, when I wanted to do something in Baltimore because that was my hometown, and I was just looking for a neighborhood, and I found a description of Sowebo online,
Yep.
and it had an arts festival there, and that struck me as something that it's a neighborhood where artists were living. That seemed interesting to me. And another was that my great grandparents had moved to Southwest Baltimore, or to West Baltimore, not far from there, from Lombard Street, like a few blocks away. They had settled when they first came to the United States from Eastern Europe. So just for that personal reason.
That's also the area that The Wire was kind of based off of, right?
Yes, it was the area. I didn't pick it because of that, but I knew that.
Yeah.
And my little neighborhood was exactly Wire neighborhood.
What years was the Sowebo project?
2006 to 16. And I declare, oh look, see, this is another, that's El Morro, the Puerto Rican fort. Yeah. Yeah, and after 10 years, I just declared it done. This is cute, look. Shells, I like that. Maybe I'll take a picture of that. Cool.
When you first started going to Sowebo,
Yeah.
how did you approach kind of talking to the people, getting kind of the trust of the community there to start photographing them?
Well, for one, I bought a house in Sowebo, and so they saw I was kind of committed, even though I wasn't there that much. I did make about 200 trips, and I just, I talked to them, and I also always gave photos back. I printed up thousands of little 4x6 prints, and I carried them around. Every week I would print more prints every time I went down, and try to give them back to the people, and they wanted them. See, Low East Side, they've made that's all new. Okay, wait, better.
Me being Filipino, I've heard you did a little project in the Philippines.
I did.
Back in the day.
What are you? Did you
I'm
say
Filipino?
you were from?
Yeah, I'm Filipino. Yeah. And that work hasn't really been seen, right?
No.
What was that experience
a total
like?
failure. I mean, it was a failure in that I never was able to get it published. I did it for Geographic, and then
They said no.
probably wouldn't be so interesting today. Might be.
I feel like you've had such a successful career photographically, but over successful careers, there's a bunch of failures.
Oh yeah. If you're going to be a photographer, you really need to learn how to accept rejection and not let it stop you. Not let it get you down. And if you can, persist with getting whatever it is finished or published, but maybe sometimes it's better to go on to another project. So Subway Art was the same. We had a lot of trouble getting it published, but we did manage to get it published, and it's been a great success. So that had a good end.
Yeah.
But I do have a lot of things sitting around that. And Soweto is another one. I tried getting, I proposed it as a book and various other, no interest.
I know a lot of colleagues of mine have projects and work they're sitting on, and they don't quite want to share a lot of it.
Yeah.
They want to hold it tight to their chest. How do you think about, if you were a working photographer today, balancing sharing your work versus holding it for future endeavors? Because it feels like sometimes social media is throwing it out there.
Yeah, it's true that sometimes I feel like if I'm putting too much out on social media, I'm diluting it, and maybe it would be better to hold it back. But I have no proof of that. I mean, maybe the other side of that is that I'm really, really happy that I have a place to put things that I control myself, as opposed to having to look for a publisher to put it out there for me. This way I control exactly what I want to say, and when I want to say it. And if I make mistakes, well, they're my mistakes. Well, the thing is, if it's something that somebody could copy, you don't want to like lead a bunch of people to jump in and grab what you've just spent years like figuring out.
Yeah.
That's
What would your words of wisdom be for that, something like that?
tread cautiously, but not too cautiously, you know? I don't know. It's like each person has to figure that out. I mean, I do remember being concerned that somebody else was going to publish this graffiti book before Henry and I would get it out there. And it, you know, there were people with a bunch of pictures, and we were worried about that. So
Did that kind of make you like want to push it out sooner than it was ready?
no, not necessarily, because it's hard to know when it's ready.
Yeah, that's another thing I struggle with. Is like when you know a project is.
Yeah, when you decide it's over, it's a hard one.
Yeah, because with the Sowebo stuff, it was 10 years, and you were like, I'm done, because you were just tired of going back and
I
forth.
was going down, and I wasn't getting pictures that were any better than the ones that I felt like, you know what, you're not. The effort was not being compensated by the photographs,
Right.
which for me was the only reason to do it. If you're not getting good photographs out of this, and I felt like I was duplicating things in a way that wasn't as good as the first time. So
That's a good signal.
yeah.
Yeah. So once you started
Yeah.
seeing that, that's a good signal. Yeah.
Yeah.
So okay, that's good. It's good to know.
Yeah, but you shouldn't give up. That's the other thing. I mean, few rejections shouldn't make you decide not to do it. But,
Yeah, I know you have like a lot of slides. I've seen that in like previous interviews, just like in boxes that are kind of unseen work. Any plans for that kind of stuff?
well, right now I'm working on getting them all to the Library of Congress, but they don't particularly want the foreign ones. They really just want the USA ones. So I don't know what I'm going to do with all the other stuff.
Interesting.
I'm going to try to talk them into at least the street art foreign ones as, look, this was an American art movement that traveled worldwide, and don't you want to see how it traveled and where it traveled?
That's so great. It's all going to the Library of Congress, though.
Yeah, I'm very happy about
That's
that.
great.
But
How long ago did that happen?
About a year and a half ago.
Oh, so pretty recent. Congratulations.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And Henry Jalfont, who also did the graffiti book with me, is also selling. We sold them to the Library of Congress. So all the graffiti stuff is going there. And that's good.
Cool. Yeah, that's good.
So people that want to do research will be able to do that in one place.
How are you?
Good.
Put Pressure Paint, Danny Cortez.
Oh, yeah? Yeah.
The most beauty photographer in the world. How you doing?
Good.
Good to see you again.
Yeah, nice to see
Sorry, I
you.
didn't remember your full name.
Yeah, well, I didn't remember you.
I remember.
Hi.
Fridge. I'm everywhere.
Oh, okay, cool.
Wasn't there. We out here with Martha and Low East Sider.
Have a great day. You're a legend in the game. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Glad to see you still out here with your
Yeah.
camera.
Bye-bye, guys.
Finish your sentence.
Yeah.
I take photos because.
Because it's my life.
All right, that's going to do it for this episode of Walkie Talkie. Martha, thanks for hanging out with me today. It has been a pleasure and an honor.
Oh, well, thanks for hanging out with me. And I hope it all turns out all right.
Yeah, let the people know where they can show you some love, where they can find your work.
How about my Instagram, at Martha Coopergram?
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Now when they see us in the streets, all they wanna do is take pics, and I'm like, okay.